Well, if you take a look at the front page of the dailies this morning, you'd see a report that looks like CBN's new forex remittance policy begins today. That's front page news, meaning it is big news. But just to put this in context, forex remittances for Nigeria across the years, we've topped $20 billion. And if you juxtapose that with our budget, you can imagine how much that is. That is over 50% of Nigeria's budget. So yet again, that is big news. But just to understand what this is about, why did we have to change a policy? What does this mean for us moving forward? We have joining us, as you have seen in that opening slide, Terap Abdurrahman, who is Director TTI at Nigeria's Diaspora Commission, a former member of the House of Representatives as well. He joins us from our Abuja studios. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on Sunrise Daily.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you. I tried to put this in context, but I know you're closer to this, so you understand why this is a big deal. So if you could just give us a background. What was the policy before, and what necessitated the policy change?
I think from our own perspective, the policy, of course, as clearly stated out in the document, is a situation where before now, Nigerians in diaspora, whenever they remit their proceeds into the country, beneficiaries don't always get it in the currency in which it is being remitted. So you find a situation where someone sends $1,000, and then the beneficiaries receive the Naira component in a particular kind of a value determined by the international money transfer agencies, the receiving banks, or the transfer agents. So the current situation now, what is now taking off today, is that if anyone remits, for example, $1,000 from the United States, the beneficiary is going to get $1,000 in dollar-denominated currency, or the currency that the beneficiary wants to take.
You know,
so
largely
that's what the new policy has.
Okay, right. Just to clear, largely, I mean, we've heard dollars, but I think I recall the CBN governor saying that it will be in designated foreign currency of choice. So is this restricted to just dollars or any foreign currency?
Oh. Yes, actually, that's it. It's a currency of choice. I gave an example with dollars because the nation of the United States. If the person is sending from Europe, from China, from Saudi Arabia, from Sudan, wherever the person chooses to be and wants that beneficiary to receive the available currency, it does mean that the beneficiary can actually have that choice to get the value in the currency he or she requires to have.
Okay, so the other side of my question is what necessitated this? Because this was not the policy before, like you alluded to. So clearly something was maybe not working, or we needed to improve on it. So what may have necessitated this change in policy?
For us in the Diaspora Commission, I think, first of all, this is a very commendable policy. And it does help to open up and of course show up the remittances into the country. I would not like to hold brief for the Central Bank of Nigeria. And of course, I believe it has effect on the current, of course, it's a monetary policy issue. But beyond that, I believe it may have something to do with the current economic situation that the country is into, and having realized that there are some external and kind of, what do you call it, some artificial effects on the value of on the current value of Naira and the current value in which the foreign currency is sold in the country. I think that is what necessitated them to act in that manner. But also, as a country, let us also appreciate the fact that that has been a major concern for Nigerians in the diaspora. They have been pushing for that. They want whatever they send, for whatever reason, or for the beneficiaries to receive the actual value. And that is far-reaching. It has very long-term effects. Let's look at it from the aspect of diaspora investments. People would like to see that whatever is it that they earn over there can translate into whatever sort of investment, either social, economic, or what have you, a kind of investment they would like to put back in their home country. For us, it now gives that kind of importance that we have wanted the country to attach to its human capital resources. There's been so much talk about diversification of the economy. And I believe that one area that has not been looked at properly is that human capital aspect. And the human capital aspect of our resource largely now comes also from the diaspora. For a diaspora to be remitting up to about $25 billion as we have it in 2019, of course, which is almost the national budget, which contributes about 6% to our gross domestic, of course, to our gross domestic product, and of course, which is about 3 times the size of our foreign debt requirement. It tells you how much you have to actually appreciate what nature of human capital you have, and also as an alternative source of revenue to the country. Because the remittances itself are not the revenue, but it helps, just like the central bank governor said, it helps in balancing or determining our balance of trade in the international market, and that also helps to show up the value of the naira in the foreign exchange market.
I think the value of the naira is something that a number of people might also be asking now, how that plays out, because since the official currency in Nigeria is the naira, and Nigerians in Nigeria can now withdraw their money in a foreign currency, could be dollar, could be yen, could be whatever else, in Nigeria. How does it affect them directly? You know, is the question a number of people might be asking, because just as you said, if we have to flood, say, $25 billion into Nigerian economy, you know, in the public space, just about anywhere, everywhere, all over the nation, how does it help the naira?
Okay, like I said, I would not like to hold brief for the CBN, but of course, in my little understanding of what balance of trade means, is that the more, because every country produces something, it is expected that your balance of trade determines, that's what do you call it, academically, it determines the value of your currency in the international market. And your balance of trade simply means how much of foreign currency is a country being able to attract. The more foreign currency you attract, because once foreign currency comes into your local economy, that currency changes into your local currency. So if you bring in so much dollars, it means you are going to buy naira with these dollars. So the more naira you buy with the dollars, that helps to increase the value of the naira. So in that context, it helps, one, because previously now, people are discouraged in sending remittances to back to Nigeria, except when necessary, because they believe that the actual value of what they send is not obtained in the country. With this current policy, it means that anybody who sends any foreign currency into the country, the beneficiary or the purpose for which it is sent for will be achieved just as intended. That is an encouragement, because for so many who have decided to withdraw from remitting funds into the country will now be encouraged. And that's the spirit that the central bank governor is actually alluding to. And he believes that, of course, we all believe, because we sit on a lot of committees that is aimed at encouraging diaspora investment into the country. And one of the major concerns is some of these bottlenecks and some of these hurdles that they believe is not very encouraging for foreign investment, especially from the diaspora. So we believe that this very act and this very policy is going to encourage Nigerians in the diaspora to remit funds into the country. That means there is a lot of, there's going to be a lot of dollars coming into the country. We don't buy things in Nigeria in dollars, we buy things in Nigeria in naira. So what happens is that whoever takes his currency, of course it's a choice. You have to give people that choice to determine what to do with what they receive. But in the end, our markets receive naira. When you go to the market, you buy things in naira. That conversion process gives value to the amount of naira that is being purchased, and that means automatically it can help to increase the value of the naira against any other foreign currency.
Absolutely.
That's the implication from my understanding.
And now that we're trying to get out of a recession, we can use all the help we can get. But earlier on, you mentioned human capital, and that's something I'd like you to, explore, because you say that we have huge human capital. Do we have a figure just to have an understanding of how much human capital we have in the diaspora as a nation? Because if we need to at least take advantage of it, we need to have a number or a figure, at least a round figure. So do you have an idea just how much human capital we have?
Thank you very much for that question. Before I answer your question, let me seize this opportunity to make Nigerians understand what we have outside the country as members of Nigerians in diaspora are some of the best, some of the most highly valued, and of course, some of those who are highly sought after in developing many other countries. Just to give you that, to understand what it means to find a way to manage and improve the relationship with our diasporans in a bid for them to come and help develop the country. Beyond that, now back to your question. Our official figures, which we have so far been able to come up with in conjunction with the World Bank and other development agencies, at the moment we have 17 million Nigerians officially who are members of Nigerians in the diaspora. We have 3 and sometimes even 4 stages of that. Basically, we have the first generation, we have the second generation, and then if we have the third generation, and we also even have what is called the fourth generation who are just about coming in. But what we are trying to say here is that there are those who on their own have left Nigeria and are doing very well overseas. They are Nigerians who are born outside the country. And then, of course, there are Nigerians who, members of the black community across the world, who believe that they have a link or lineage or ancestry with Nigeria. And every one of them wishes to have that opportunity to relate with the country in so many ways. And we believe in any way possible that we give them the opportunity to relate with the country, it will help in developing the country. Apart from the fact that a lot of them can be vehicles for foreign direct investment, a lot of them already have indicated interest in coming to develop various areas in solar technology, in automotive industry, in the health industry, in the education. So you find all sorts of Nigerians who have succeeded in various ways that are willing to come back and support the country. But beyond that, the remittance alone, because we consider the remittance less than 10% of the average earnings of Nigerians overseas. And most of these remittances are not really are not really canvassed for. They are not really sought after. It is people who are in the diaspora who decide to either help the members of their community, society, family. Very few ones who would like to develop estates and buildings and whatever are those ones who actually contribute to these remittances. So we have not even gotten to the point of sitting with Nigerians in diaspora and telling them, look, this is a project, come and undertake in building or establishing such developmental projects. There you will see the real power, the real capacity of Nigerians in diaspora. Some of us estimate that you can have up to about $500 billion in 10 years if you put the right infrastructure and the right things in place. And that is what the Commission is trying to do thus far.
Well, speaking of those Nigerians in diaspora, one of them, is Adewale Wali Adeyemo, who, I think NITCOM even congratulated him for being nominated to be the Deputy Secretary of the United States Treasury Department. And, there was a conversation on social media, and I'm sure you must have followed that, just to put it out there. So if one more time you can just respond to that, because a lot of Nigerians, see such congratulations, and the first question they ask is, just how much did Nigeria contribute to their success? Right? He was born in Nigeria, but was raised largely in the United States. And some draw, inference saying, if he was in Nigeria, would he have been that? Well, that is left to the jury. But for one more time, if you could just respond to that, what do you have to say to those people who always ask questions that, well, just how much did we contribute? Why are we claiming this?
I think my response to everyone, I just want to draw a perspective. We all know what it is like when an act of terror or some criminal activity takes place in most of these countries, and it's something for them to dissociate with. The first thing they mention is the country of origin of the person. We've seen so many instances where people who, some of which were not even born in Nigeria, were mentioned as so of Nigerian descent. If you like, don't claim your own. The most important thing here is that we can't continue to play the ostrich. Whether, in some people's opinion, Nigeria has contributed to the successes of such people or not, the mere fact that the country identifies with them, appreciates them, and wishes them well, to me, is enough an encouragement for a lot. And you may need to see what we have in our database, how much that has helped a lot of people to look towards Nigeria. What so far the establishment of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission has done is to change the narrative. Up until this moment, for most of the times, we've only been, of course, inundated with the entire negative narratives of Nigerians in the diaspora. Nobody sells you. You have to sell yourself. And that's what the Commission has been doing. We have to pick the very best of us. It's a choice. If one wants to identify with the country, it's left to him. But we will continue to identify because, talk to a father who has a son and probably has never contributed in anything in the son's success. The father will always like to get back and appreciate the person if he's successful. Now, whether the son likes to associate with that or not is a different issue. But the fact that we have to understand where we are. The first solution to a problem is for you to understand the problem. The problem is that we never recognize our own. We never appreciate. And we never take into cognizance the successes of Nigerians, which is far more greater than the negative narratives that have been attached to Nigerians and the diaspora.
Well, perhaps that's...
And of course, the value of Nigerian life, for instance.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. If you go to a lot of countries now, there are a lot of countries who are now, who need to think twice before they do anything to any Nigerian. Because for the first time, Nigerians are coming out to say, look, ours matter. Nigerians' life matter. And whatever in that light, you allow anyone to do to a Nigerian...
Yes, in that light of the fact that...
You will have to be responsible for that.
Yes, in the light of the fact that Nigerian lives matter, we've talked about the one in the US. Let's quickly talk about the ones not too far away, here in Ghana. Could you give us an update? We all know what's been happening about, Nigerian businessmen in Ghana and all of the talk about them paying $1 million and all of that. So how is NITCOM also identifying with their success stories or not?
Interestingly, NITCOM appears to be the very first agency to intervene. And I can recall that some of these problems dates back to 5, 6, or even 7 years, as far as I am involved in this situation and to the best of my recollection. And I think the situation between Nigeria and Ghana has now kind of metamorphosed into more of a diplomatic issue. It has gone beyond Nigerians who are living in Ghana. It has something, I think, currently there are interministerial committees that have already been set up to liaise with the Ghanaian government. The president of Nigeria has spoken to the president of Ghana. The Speaker of the House of Representatives has visited Ghana personally. And from my own personal opinion, it transcends the idea of just an isolated case. It seemed to have taken a historical dimension and a social one, and I think we will have to. We are now on our own. We are taking notes and making certain recommendations that goes beyond just a mere one case affair. We have to look at the entire Nigerian-Ghana historical relationship perspective. And of course, don't also forget that it also has to do with the successes of Nigerian traders who are living in Ghana. So
while that is valid, Mr. Abrahamman,
it is far beyond
just one moment. Yes.
Cases.
Well, while it is beyond immediate individual cases, the immediate individual concerns of the traders involved is equally important. So what would you say to those traders now whose businesses are in jeopardy and whose lives are pretty much on the balance while all of this diplomatic melee is going on?
Okay, at the moment, the official position is that some of them have signed to return back to Nigeria, about 720 of them. And what the two countries have to exhaust all avenues of resolution. And of course, in some cases, the government over there tries to show as if it is not aware of some of these local market policies or actions that are being taken, and always tries to be reactive whenever such issues are. So whenever we talk to them, there was never a time to my recollection that the government of Ghana has denied to intervene. So you see, in such a situation, the diplomatic requirements becomes even more complex. I cannot sit down here and tell you in full what the two governments have now are now moving ahead to reach. The best we are doing is to talk out to our own Nigerians who are staying in Ghana. For those who have shown willingness to come back, we are doing everything within the Commission's powers to ensure that that transition is smooth. Some of them have been there for 20 years. Some of them have been there for 25 years. For no crime that they've
just one moment. The issue here, if you could...
been known for,
just my apologies. The issue here, if you could speak to it very, very quickly, is that just as we have heard from the DG of the chairman of NIDCOM, is that it's not about, the problem is not from government to government. It's among the citizens of Ghana and the citizens of Nigeria at that lower level where they interface. So for those who are directly affected, the Nigerians who are directly affected, what should they be doing now? If you can just speak to that in maybe about 60 seconds.
Yeah. Yes, you see, the issue here is that's the Ghanaian people or the Ghanaian government have imposed certain tariffs beyond the ordinary control of the Nigerian who is over there. So the best thing, the government has to intervene now, and that's what we are doing. The government has to ensure that some of these policies are watered down so that life becomes ordinarily bearable. You're asking someone, a trader with a small shop, to pay $1 million before he can continue his trade. Sincerely speaking, you and I know that that is not realistic. So that intervention has to take place to ensure that some of these very, very strict measures are brought down. And that is what the two governments are doing. That is what the Commission is pushing for first and foremost. Secondly, For those who have indicated that they are no longer interested in staying in Ghana and they would like to get back to Nigeria, there are a lot of issues also with that. And what we are trying to do is to ensure that that process is fast-tracked, so that it's a willing thing. But beyond that, there should also be some palliatives. There should also be some, platforms for them to take advantage of by the time they come back. We are discussing with relevant authorities, with the Minister of Trade, the Minister of Interior, the Foreign Affairs, so that their traders, let them not come back and become a burden to themselves and everybody. Let there be something that can engage them the moment they come back to the country. So we have these two sides of the coin that we are dealing with. One, for those who would like to stay in Ghana, we will have to fight, we will have to ensure that there are certain things, policy-wise, that the government needs to do to accommodate them. For those who want to come back to Nigeria, Nigeria also needs to put in certain policies in place in order to welcome them back and re-establish them in their lines of trade. These are the two
great place to anchor, Honorable.
efforts that is being taken place now.
I wish you the very best, because just less than 5 days ago, we hear that shops, another round of closure started. And don't forget, there's that interministerial committee that was set up. So we do hope that these issues are looked into. But we'd like to thank you so much, Honorable Terab Abdurrahman, who is the Director TTI at NIDCOM. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me again.